Good afternoon, guys. Today we are prepping a brisket for Father's Day. Simple recipe. First thing we're going to do is the trim work. You don't want to cut all the fat off, but you do want to cut down to maybe a little over a quarter inch, or excuse me, a little under a quarter inch. The seasoning doesn't penetrate the fat. A lot of your smoke won't penetrate the fat. So you don't want big heavy layers of it on there. You do want some. But you definitely don't want a lot. I would suggest a fairly sharp knife when doing it. It makes it easier. And you don't want to be doing it with a big butcher knife. I found a good boning knife works the best. You know, and if you get down to the meat, like right here, don't worry about it. Like I said, the recipe we're using is a really simple recipe. I call it the Texas recipe, because basically all it is salt and pepper. It's a 50-50 mix. And what we're going to do is we're going to season it today, wrap it in a cling wrap, prepare for the cook tomorrow. And when you're trimming this, any small little tag ends that are hanging off, you might as well just cut it off whether it's meat or not, because all it's going to do is burn. Finished getting this thing trimmed, and we'll get it seasoned. far as the trim work, that's pretty much it. Like I said, the seasoning, 50-50 mix. Salt, pepper. That is it. Get it on there very liberally. Try and coat it best you can everywhere, edges, sides. Now all you do is wrap it in some cling wrap. That's it. Stick it in the fridge, let it sit overnight. Be ready to go first thing in the morning. Welcome back this morning, guys. Getting our fire kicked off. Let that build for a little while. Let it get up to about 275. Start choking it all back. Get the grates in. Let it stabilize between 300 and 325. Then we'll get the meat on. Now, with me, I'm cooking on a Kamado Joe. People are going to be different. Some of you might have offset cookers, you know, regular grills, hell, even a gas grill. So what I'm doing now is maybe specific for my cooker, but as far as your temperature goes, it's going to be universal. It doesn't matter. So we got the fire going. We have the porcelain plates in. I'm sure y'all noticed the wood that was with my charcoal. I'm using natural charcoal, no lighter fluid. And I'm using half apple and half cherry wood with a little bit of con mixed into it. I like more of the fruity trees. I'm not much into the mesquites, even your oaks. To me, they're just a little bit too heavy of a smoke. So that's how we're doing it. So I'm gonna let the temperature get up to about 275 or so. We'll start choking it back, let it stabilize, then we get the meat on. Now when I started the grill, I also took the meat out. I always take the meat out when I'm starting the grill to let it warm up some. If you put a big piece of meat on your cooker that is cold, you're gonna have a hard time stabilizing it to start with. So I always take it out, let it get as close to room temperature as I can. You know, you wouldn't want to do that with chicken, but or maybe even pork, but beef, it ain't gonna hurt you. So we'll let, like I said, we'll let the temperature get up and go from there. I like using a grill thermometer as well as the one that comes with it. You always double check each other. So shouldn't take long. It'll get built up, then it'll start stabilizing, then we'll go from there. Well, we got our grill up to about 320. Just about stabilized. It's still climbing a little bit, but when you put that big piece of meat on there, it'll cool it back down. So we're gonna go ahead and unwrap the meat, get it on the grill. Now when I put this on the grill, different people have different ways of doing it. Fat side up, fat side down. Me personally, I put the fat side down. You know, you got this big cavity here. If you cut out that big chunk of fat that separates the two muscles, that's how you can always tell. That's how I do it. Oh. But do it however you want. Now if you're using a grill probe, make sure you don't put it right up on the meat. Otherwise, it's going to be pulling some of the temperature off the meat until it heats up. So your temperature ain't going to be as accurate as it should be. Always leave it back a couple inches. Get the meat probe in. You want it in the approximately the thickest part of the meat. We're looking for an internal temperature of 180 degrees. Once it reaches 180, then we'll pull it, wrap it in butcher paper, not foil, butcher paper. And then we'll stick it back on until the internal temperature hits 203, and then we'll let it rest. The reason I use butcher paper, if you use foil, once you put foil on it, wrap it, put it back, you're basically starting to steam the meat. Butcher paper can still breathe. That's why I use butcher paper. It'll keep the smoke from penetrating, but the meat can still breathe. You know, if you left this thing on there for 10, 11, 12 hours under full smoke, it'd be a pretty smoky piece of meat. I particularly don't like it that smoky. So I'll wrap it, and for me it turns out good. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now once you get it on there and get it set, and all your probes are in, everything's set, your alarm set, pretty much it, walk away. You know, there's an old saying, if you're looking, you're not cooking. So the more you open the lid, the more heat's escaping. So just leave it in there till you get about 175, 180. Once your alarms go off, start testing it. Make sure you got 180 in the coldest part of your meat, or your thickest part. That's when you wrap it. As you can see, we just about reached the 180 internal temperature. So we're going to go ahead and get our pin probe and check the meat. See where it looks like in multiple different points without taking out your main probe. It's hard to see. I'm reading 180, 176, got 172 there, got 180, got over 200 in the flat, which is to be expected. Yeah, we're pretty much in the 180 range. Had one little spot that wasn't quite there yet, but it's close enough. We'll go ahead and get this thing wrapped. So we'll take it off, get it wrapped up in paper, and back on.
When you go to wrap this thing, guys, it doesn't have to be a big science experiment. Just I lay my paper kind of catty corner, a little bit of a tip out there. I'll wrap it, fold your ends in, finish wrapping it, tuck the bottom up underneath, and you ought to be good. So we'll get this thing wrapped and I'll show you what it looks like. So lay it out, one wrap. So this will be your fat side up. Fold it in, fold it one more time, fat side down now. This is how you originally had it on the grill. This piece here, kind of double it up. That's it. Get it back on the grill, get the probe back in, and we're looking for that 203. As you can hear, our alarms have gone off. Probe is saying we've reached an internal temperature of 203. We use our pin and check it. So we've checked the meat in multiple positions. It all looks good. I'll take it off and let it rest at least an hour. I'm gonna put a layer of foil on top very loosely and then cover it with towels. The only reason I put the foil on there is to keep the melted fat that's in this paper from soaking up into that towel. So that's what we'll do, and then we'll let it rest. That'll be it for the next hour. Like I said, we'll just let it rest covered. You can use old beach towels. These are just old bath towels.
Now the first thing we want to do is separate the point from the flat. When you're doing your trim work, that big heavy concentration of fat, that's the two different muscles. So just trim right there. If it's cooked properly, you can almost pull it apart with your fingers. See how easy it comes out? Just basically trim where the fat is, and that will separate your flat from the point. Now your thinner part, being your flat, you want to cut that obviously against the grain, and you want it about the thickness of a number 2 pencil. About like that. It should stay together but pull apart very easily, just like that. Now for the point, you want to cut your pieces about the thickness of, say, a carpenter's pencil. And again, the same thing. The meat should be pliable and hold itself together, but pull apart very easily. There you have it, guys. Brisket. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and follow.